about this. So, just to inform people what's going on, our stream tonight had an issue where my PC had updated and had disconnected my microphone from OBS. My
Uh, we,
entire. Sorry.
we didn't happen to actually notice this until basically the end. So, while most everyone was recorded, the GM was not.
Which means some key things I had said are nowhere to be found in the recording or the release of the stream at this point. So we are making this little episode to kind of explain some things that happened in proper detail. To start with,
Um, well, the first thing that happened was we started where we left off, very much just going through the Goblin Cave. Snow and Loxton were investigating the prisoners that the goblins had been keeping. Amon, Evander, and Tatiana uh, were going through supplies, mostly just Evander on that one. Um, but essentially, we learned that the two prisoners, which were the rabbit folk young girl and the goblin, which was a separate subspecies. I guess the term would be proper subspecies of goblin. I don't know
I'll
the
be a
proper
bit
term.
out of character for this because this was mentioned later in the stream. They are what is known as awakened, which was mentioned to be a form of a subspecies in a sense. A
Yeah.
race that can become feral can become awakened afterwards and change in the process.
Basically, they found out that they were slaves from. They'd been foreign travelers that had been captured. The young rabbit folk was, I believe,
Nobility.
lesser, yeah, lesser noble of some sort. The goblin, in fact, had been some sort of professor. In fact, the title was Professor Alkine, I think is the pronunciation we've decided to go with.
Yeah,
Um, they'd been quite surprised that we uh, even had been heading this way out, so we told them that we saw the caravan and decided to, investigate and help. And we figured we had really the the goblin is she is a mage of some kind. She's got like a mage collar for like magical slaves, because this was, a slave caravan.
technically
Um,
both have the collar. It's just
only one's
hers
magic.
hers is lit up because she cast magic and it activated a suppression system.
Yes. But we decided we really had no other choice but to take them with us, and it was also decided, since Evander's the only one from any degree of, money, being a burger and a guildsman, uh, that if anyone asks, they belong to him. She also has like some kind of like paper, which means that like the magic on it prevents them from hurting the person who owns the paper. And if they attempt to destroy the paper, the magic uh, chains decide to shrink.
As I worded it, the collar on her neck shrinks to a ring around your finger in terms of size.
Yep. Uh, from besides that, we found a roughly 100 gold. Most it was 4 platinum, 60 gold, and some other bits of, silver and electrum, silver and copper. Um, once we decided mostly to put that all into Evander, because he was going to be the one to buy the medicines with the supplies and such. Uh, but for those that found, we found a decent amount of money. We found some salvaged weapons and stuff like that. Strangely enough, what will be none of the characters know what it is now, but it is essentially a leshy. It's a little what appears to be a small animal, a frog in this case, that looks like well, like it's made of a Brussels sprout. It's made of leaves and of a thing. It's like, oh, this is clearly not a natural creature, but Evander has picked it up, and I guess it has joined the party. I mean, it's very easy to hide. It's probably sitting in his pocket. But besides that, they uh, basically cut open the grain and spread it all around, and then lit what remained of the goblin camp on fire, figuring it, and took basically everything of any amount of value just so the goblins couldn't have it. After that, we started continuing on for the next 4 days to the major city that we're going to. Let me find its name. I know I've got it written down somewhere.
Z- Zalontier.
Zalantia. There it is. Yeah. Um,
It was during this trip when they found out about her species and the bunny folks' nobility. The party kept referring to the noble as female, by the way.
is she not? Or are they not? Is it a he?
It's a male bunny folk.
Oh well. I don't think anyone bothered to check. I'd
Nobody
hope.
nobody would have a reason to check, but I found it amusing. At least the kid can't understand any language the party speaks, and I was certain of it because no one in the party speaks halfling.
Huh. But we finally arrived at Zalantir and noticed there were carriages rolling out and waiting for people. It's apparently last time any of them saw something like this. Uh, there was a witch hunt and people were dragged out of villages. But
No, there's going to be a witch hunt. They were departing for it.
yeah, so apparently there's someone somewhere about to be dragged out of some place, and it's not like the party knows properly, potentially a witch somewhere, not at all. Hmm, I'm looking at you, sorry. Besides that, we learned basically the nobility of the city is not known for their anger management. Uh, they have quite a bit of the temper when disrespected. Uh, the city has also been dealing with basically an immortal man. Not immortal in the fact that he can't be killed, but in more the fact of uh, more like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. His head got cut off,
That did not
but
stop
he
him.
didn't die.
Yeah, that didn't stop him from coming back later with his head reattached and then kidnapping the mayor's daughter for ransom.
Yeah, which is quite a little bit funny on that one. But um they're apparently doing something to that man in a dock because, well, we can keep just killing him and it doesn't really affect him. So why not? This is probably some magic bullshit, but the witch hunters apparently can't kill him either.
Witch
So,
hunters have no idea how he keeps coming back, so
what's the best thing to do with a man you can't actually kill? Torture, or at least heavily implied to be torture. In the old dock warehouse that we shouldn't go near, thanks to being informed by a guard.
A guard that really does not like the Empire, and you didn't hear any of that from him, given the torturers, or executioners as they were called, aren't very nice to women, so how are they going to be for a man who can't die?
Yeah, that's probably gonna be more just like like they're like, hey, you know all that weird like shit you never really get to try because the guy keeps dying before it gets done. You can test it out on him. Uh,
Not quite, but close.
yeah. Um, the party decided to split up. Then, well, Amon decided I'm gonna go fishing because
Rolled a nat 20 on a survival check with advantage on that. We were going to figure out what
figure.
he was doing between sessions.
Yeah. Um, Snow and Evander and the two, for now, slaves, as far as anyone's concerned, decided to head towards the local merchants guild because why this city does not have a uh, blacksmiths guild, they do have the merchants guild, and the guilds, like most sensible guilds, were try to keep on friendly terms with one another. Because you piss off one, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, suddenly no merchant can buy anything for that required for their work, or no swords, or no shoes for their horses. That would be quite bad.
And this is where some bad news was given out by a overly tall dwarf.
Yeah, apparently this motherfucker, he ate his Wheaties and drank his milk. I don't know what to say. You for some reason gave us a 6 foot tall dwarf, which I'm like that. I don't feel like that's proper.
It's not
It,
proper because he's only half dwarf. That's the whole point.
yeah, I'm wondering. It's like, okay, which what side fucked the giant or the troll
Oh,
or the fucking
I was going much worse with this implication.
orc?
No. When have
Is
you
it
ever seen
rude?
an elf fuck a dwarf? I did say 6 foot.
I thought elves weren't that tall. Okay. Um, it's typically orcs that are that tall, but okay. Uh,
Depends on the elf in D&D, actually.
uh but that's some heresy. But Evander told him of basically the issue that was going on in their town, and the dwarf basically informed him that medicine won't work. It's a magical illness, and the local imperial healer mage is too busy helping the. Well, first he fixed this city, then he went to the next closest town, was dealing with their nobility and then their peons, and they're just he is too overworked, and we'd be paying out insane amounts of money to be able to get his services quickly. But guilds stick together, and guilds also like debts to one another. So the man has told Evander and Snow to come back in roughly 4 hours, and we don't know what's going to come from that. Hopefully, something good.
He did make the stipulation this conversation never happened, basically, as he
Of
removed
course,
the name from his book of debts.
yes, because apparently, as the man asked uh, the name of the family, that because since he was mentioning it was a guild, Evander gave his father's full name and Noma, which was Tiberius, no, Lucius Tiberius Ferraris. And it seemed that this man, this very, very tall dwarf, um, owed a debt, and now it's gone. Or it will be gone. But we don't know because we didn't get up exactly how that is going to be fixed. The last part was going to be
The library.
yeah, Loxon and Tatiana going to the library to do research on what this sickness was, uh, so they know what properly to buy the types of medicine for. Since, well, it's hard to buy medicine for a sickness you don't understand outside of like just the common healing potions. Um,
I should also note of the entire town, both the guild hall and the library have completely different architecture compared to everything else. Because
just their
the
some of
library
the
is far older than the town's current establishment, but
and the guild hall was established by merchants, and merchants don't like living like poor people.
they also have used building techniques that were lost in history. Basically, the town has been completely tore down and rebuilt around them over time. Both buildings serve a historical purpose at this point, despite one being more modern than everything else.
Yeah, because merchants are like, oh, that's cute. You were going to live like poor people, aren't you? Aren't you serious? We have money. We can live in wealth.
Well, money and people who know how to maintain the building.
Yeah. Merchants in the past. They're basically the Seto Kaiba. Fuck you, I have money.
That
I,
they are.
I don't need rules, I have money.
During the party loot, however, the party took 7 makeshift scimitars, 3 salvage shortbows, 2 makeshift shields, the dice set, both the drums, and a set of leatherworking tools that they were not carrying on them, and added that to the party loot.
Hmm. But I think that's about all of the anything major that came up that they wouldn't have heard that was uh player to player interaction.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of glad we didn't get any further before noticing that, because
Yeah.
there was something important I wanted to point out with the library, and catching that right before that is a very good thing.
Yeah, who was the one who said that? I'm gonna check again. James Buckner. If you hear this, James, thank you.
That's Daz, by the way.
Oh, Daz. Thank you, Daz.
Well, I apologize. I am never a professional when it comes to this, so things like this are bound to happen periodically. This video is meant to, as I said before, serve as an understanding of what I was trying to say. With the help of Jocko, as he has much better memory than I do, I will say something and forget 2 seconds later. This is why I like when people take notes.